All right, perfect. Welcome to tonight's team training. Royalty team training happens every Wednesday. For those of you who are new and do not know, we have them every Wednesday for the most part, and it's all about pouring into you, giving you the opportunity to learn what you have access to and ask questions. And tonight will be no different. Tonight, we're going to talk about the 8-step game plan, a detailed game plan to you creating and building wealth. See, when we come here in a position to hit certain goals, but then you realize that when it comes to, for example, so for a person who comes to better their credit, a lot of times that's the only thing they're focused on. They're focused on bettering their credit, getting things deleted, seeing if they can get that score up, seeing if they can get that collection removed, to charge off the late payments. But when you really understand credit, you realize that credit is just a side effect from what's really going on. You really want to have your personal finances in order, and then your credit will be good by default because you got the principles intact. You got the actual steps, and you know exactly what you need to do to have personal financial success, and your credit benefits from that as well. So when you come for credit, we want you to leave with more than just credit. Yeah, we got a system that can help you take your credit to the next level. People have used our system to delete hundreds of thousands of dollars in collections, get 750 plus, 800 plus, even 850 perfect credit score. So yes, we know it works. And if you have not dove into it and started taking action on a month-by-month basis, sending those letters out, asking questions, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because people have a tool, or you have a tool that people have used in order to hit their credit goals. However, tonight I want to talk to you about your personal cash flow plan. So this is a long-term plan, but what you want to accomplish long-term starts with the steps that you take today. See, that's what you got to understand. What you want to accomplish in the future starts with the steps you take today. If anybody knows anything about sowing and reaping, you have to plant seeds today, and then you benefit from the seeds that you planted today in the future in the form of a harvest. So you have to start working on those goals today, because I promise you, 10 years will pass before you know it. 5 years will pass before you know it. 15 years, 20 years will pass before you know it. So you want to be getting yourself in position to hit those goals. Otherwise, you look up and you wonder what happened. You look up and you realize, wow, I didn't plan. I didn't put myself in position. And now you're a person who is having to work later than you need to. Nobody wants to be 80 years old still clocking in, or 70 still clocking in, or living off of whatever Social Security is still available in hopes that it's enough to get the job done during that time. So you have to be proactive and take some accountability and take initiative and take action on learning this stuff. If you don't know this stuff, or you wasn't taught this stuff, you're in the right place at the right time, because everybody is learning and growing and positioning themselves to use the tools and the resources and the network of people that we have access to in order to hit their goals. So the personal cash flow plan, we like to call it PCP for short. It's just basically a plan to help you hit your financial goals, and we break it down real simple. So the goal of this training is basically to give you a complete step-by-step financial blueprint to follow, which will create income and wealth for you and your family. See, it's bigger than just you. How many people do you have that's possibly dependent on you? Drop it in the chat. Like, many of you have children, so it's not just you. So you got to understand that the things that you shy away from doing, or the things you say, I don't want to do that, or you drag your feet on, and things that that force you to get out of your comfort zone, is not just affecting you. It's affecting those who are attached to you. So who else is a part of your why? Like, why are you a person who wants to have personal financial success, or financial success as a whole? Is it your children? Is it your grandchildren? Is it your nieces and nephews or godchildren? Drop that in the chat. I need to see. Because when you understand building a personal cash flow plan that helps you build wealth, then you see the bigger picture and how other people fit in it. And then you realize the action that you take today will not only benefit you, but it benefits them. And then they'll be able to smile and realize, wow, mom put in their work, dad put in their work, my auntie put in their work to help position us in the future. And I'm glad they did. So you got to really take this serious and attach it to something that makes you realize, okay, I can't not do this. Otherwise, somebody else is going to have to pick up the slack for what I didn't do. And that's not a position you want to be in. So personal cash flow plan, what exactly is it? A personal cash flow plan is a detailed plan on how to apply discretionary cash flow to your finances each month to attain financial success. So discretionary cash flow is the cash flow that you're able to create outside of your necessities in order to help you get closer to your goals and position you on a monthly basis to attain financial success. Now, I want to, zoom in on where it says each month, because if you're doing my econ the right way, your net worth should be increasing on a monthly basis. On a monthly basis, every month you should be getting somewhat richer. Now, we understand that sometimes, you can be on track and then things happen that set you back. We get it. That's happened to us countless times. But understanding and knowing what you know and knowing what you have access to, this system can help you increase your net worth on a monthly basis. So that way, every month you're putting one foot in front of the other. We're not saying you have to take big leaps. We're just saying put one foot in front of the other. If you put one foot in front of the other, you'll look up and realize one day, wow, I came a long way. I may not be where I want to be, but I damn sure ain't where I used to be. So just put one foot in front of the other, and that'll get you closer to financial success. And you can do that on a monthly basis, because on a monthly basis, you're bringing in some type of revenue. You're bringing in some type of income. A lot of people get paid either monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly. So some people can be increasing their net worth on a weekly basis, some on a bi-weekly basis, but most on a monthly basis if you apply everything that you have access to. So a step process that starts with building the foundation and working your way through. Everything starts with a foundation. Most people stumble because they skip the steps. So we're about to give you the steps, and we have a document, the 807 document. It's been relocated. If you need it and don't have it, then we can get you access to it. But it's pretty much going through everything I'm about to share in the slides. But the document itself is printable. So it makes it so that you can more so turn it into a checklist. And you're able to say, okay, I haven't done this. Let me work on doing this. And then once they're done, I proceed to the next step. So you can print it out and use it as a checklist. So it gives you a sense of motivation. You have something to look at, something that you can touch, something that's tangible that you can use to help you hit those goals. But most people stumble because they skip steps. So the main thing you don't want to do is skip steps. I know about skipping steps because I skipped steps before. Just like, I do this. Now, certain things you can do simultaneously as it relates to moving you in the right direction, but sometimes you can skip steps, and as a result, you hurt yourself because of the steps that you skip. So step one, speaking of steps, generate cash flow. Drop cash flow in the chat. And who knows what cash flow is? Like, cash flow. You want to build as much positive cash flow as possible. See, the money that you bring in is income. That's usually the money that you bring in from your job or, maybe your business. But cash flow is the excess money. You want to have some money that's more than the money that actually goes towards paying your bills. Now, if a person is living above their means, then sometimes they don't have any cash flow. If a person is living right at their means, then they not only don't have cash flow. Well, some people live above their means. They not only not have cash flow, they're falling behind every single month. And that's why each month they may be create negative net worth. But a person who doesn't have any cash flow, they're just ends are just meeting, and that's it. But if you have some cash flow, then that's a little something to work with. However, MyEcon has a solution. If you have limited cash flow to the point where if ends are barely meeting or you're a little bit behind, we have strategies that help you put more money back into your pocket. So what do those strategies consist of? So you got to understand that your job is a source of income, a source of cash flow. A lot of times people demonize jobs. We never have demonized jobs, especially in MyEcon, because MyEcon is designed for the individual who works a job that can show the person who has a job how to build wealth. So your job, in many cases, is one of your best investments or one of your investors into your financial future if you use it correctly. So you want to build as much cash flow as possible. For many people, that cash flow is going to come from your job, the hours that you work, the salary that you're paid, the overtime that you may put in order to create more income. Another form of cash flow may come from business income. We would love for you to get business income from MyEcon, because MyEcon pays every week. They pay residual income, and they don't mind cutting checks. And if you do MyEcon the right way, it creates other streams of income just off of what it is that we teach. A lot of y'all are getting paid with content creation now. who probably wouldn't have been creating content to the level that you're creating it had you not been a part of my econ and the royalty movement. Let me know in the chat who's getting some of that social media, those social media deposits. Who's getting some of those social media deposits? A lot of people are getting paid through social media because content being created on social media, even if it's to build your My Econ business, can also turn into additional cash flow. And all of that cash flow is good because it helps you get closer to your goals if you're using it strategically. Just because it came from social media doesn't mean that the money isn't real. Like, it's not like you just gonna take that money and just blow it. No, that's something that can help you get closer to hitting your goals if you're following this PCP the right way. So take advantage of business income. And business income is one of my favorite ones because it's not just income. It's not just money that comes in. It also comes attached with tax deductions. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but when we say minimize taxes, you want to understand that one of your biggest expenses, your biggest bill, the biggest robber of your wealth is taxes. Most people over the course of their lifetime is going to pay $1 million in taxes. $1 million in taxes. And if you knew that you were going to pay $1 million in taxes, I'm pretty sure you would want to figure out a way to pay a whole lot less than that million, so that million can still be a part of your net worth, a part of your retirement, if that's something you desire to do. Well, when you have business income, it's no such thing as having business income without some type of business deductions in some way, shape, form, fashion associated with it. What do I mean? Well, if you're using My Econ as a business and you're using your cell phone to create content of all kinds, regardless of what it is, you just position your cell phone bill that you were going to pay anyway to be tax deductible, up to 100%. We write off 100% of our cell phone bill because we're using it that much. It's our content creator. It's our audio, creator. It's our video creator. It's our video editor. It's our training portal. It's everything. It's our marketing. It's our advertising. It's everything. So you may have some things that you already have anyway. And if you're generating business income as a result of a phone, just as an example, then that income also allows you to offset it by having tax deductions. There are hundreds of tax deductions available. This is not a common tax deduction training, but just to name a few: cell phone bill, internet, travel. And if you're traveling and you're creating content, now you position yourself to get tax deductions because of the content, number one. Then My Econ has a travel piece that allows you to get tax deductions associated with that as well. So it helps in that area. Meals and entertainment. Well, I scratched out the entertainment because they changed that, over the past years. But meals, portions of your meals can be tax deductible. So these are things that you may have already been spending money on anyway, but now you're able to use that money but get tax deductions. What does that mean? That means the money that you make at your job, the money that you make from your business, they can't tax you at the max amount. So say you made $60,000 for the year. A portion of it, say you made $60,000 at your job and $10,000 in business. Well, in a normal world, people may think that they get taxed on the $70,000. Well, depending on your filing status, if you got kids, that adjusts it. But if you got business deductions, that lowers that tax liability even more. So this is what they mean when they say, commonly it's said that Warren Buffett pays less in taxes than his secretary. That's because he understands the tax law. And when you understand the tax law, then you can legally pay less. Trump even said it in one of his, campaigns or debates years ago. They was talking about him not paying in taxes. He said, well, that actually makes me smart because he understands the tax code. You have access to a similar tax code with business income, so do not sleep on it. I know I spoke on that for a long time, but it's very important in terms of your cash flow because the tax dollars that you save can directly affect your ability to build wealth in a positive way. Next form of cash flow is maximizing your cash flow via the W-4. For most of you who have a job, if you have not adjusted your W-4, it's a good chance that you may be leaving money on the table. How do I know this? Because many years ago, the IRS pretty much said that over 100 million Americans were overpaying in taxes. Not paying their fair share, overpaying in taxes. overpaying in taxes. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not in the business of giving the government extra money that I don't know where it's going. I'm not in the business of overpaying in taxes. I don't have a problem with it as long as money is going towards things, because I benefit from things that tax dollars are paid, that tax dollars pay. I benefit from the roads and things of that nature. So I don't have a problem with taxes, but I don't want to overpay in taxes. Well, when you correct your W-4, that allows you to adjust it based on your situation. And in many cases, people are able to bring in an extra $200 to $800 on average per month. Now, if you had an extra $200 to $800 coming into your household, what could you do with it? Drop that in the chat. What could you do with an extra $200 to $800? For many people, an extra $200 to $800, and statistics has shown this, if people had an extra $400 or $500 coming in, that would be all they needed to avoid filing bankruptcy. I talked to a lot of people. I have credit clients all over the nation. I had a call, with somebody today, and they were talking about they were considering filing bankruptcy. And just to understand the depth of what, their finances had gone through, something like a W-4 correction is something that very well could have benefited her in terms of keeping her from even having a thought of filing bankruptcy. So it's power in just understanding the right knowledge. When you know better, you do better. This W-4 is just a simple document. You fill it out appropriately. It increases your take-home pay, and it's like giving yourself a pay raise without asking your boss. Very important, because the extra $200 to $800 can help you get towards your goals faster. That's what we're all about, figuring out what can we do? Where is money being left on the table? How can we find that table? Find the money that's being left on that table, take the money off the table, and put that money into something that's going to help us hit our goals faster. Not get rich quick, but just faster than slow. That's all we're talking about. And then minimizing expenses. You create cash flow by minimizing expenses. Many of us have expenses or money that's being spent on something that's not being utilized, or something we don't really need. Like, we cut off cable a long time ago. But now they got all these streaming platforms, and if you have too many streaming platforms, it can cost just as much as cable. But figure out where you may be leaking money unnecessarily, and then cut those expenses out, and then those expenses can also, create more cash flow for you, if that's a strategy you want to implement as well. And then eliminate debt. When you eliminate debt, you save money on interest. When you pay down your credit card, I don't care if the credit card was a 22 interest credit card. If you got a zero balance, what's 22% of nothing? So you save money on interest. And now that money that you would have been spending on interest can go towards other things. Very important. When you pay down loans, when you pay down vehicles, when you have better credit, you save money on interest as well. So all of these things go hand in hand, because it's all about taking money away from the people who have been robbing you of your wealth. So when we talk about all of these strategies, us telling you to minimize your taxes is you getting money back from the government who's taking your money, because many people are overpaying in taxes. When you minimize your expenses, that's you getting money back from big businesses that have convinced us that we need whatever it is that they're selling, or whatever monthly subscription that it is that they have. So that's you getting money back from big business, bringing it into your household. When you eliminate debt and you save money on interest, that's you getting money back from the banks. I need you to type in the chats, give me that back. Give me that back. Because at the end of the day, you want to get money back from those who are taking it from you. A lot of times people don't even look at it like that. But the banks are getting rich off of us. The government a lot of times take extra money, and they're not going to say anything. They just know that most people are ignorant, naive, lazy, and don't want to go through the process of minimizing their taxes, and they're okay with it. So we got to get accustomed to getting what's rightfully ours, so we can put that back into our household and help us hit those goals faster. So this is generating cash flow. You put all of these things together, and now you have more to work with than you started with, and it can help you move to step number 2. Now, as you're doing all of these things, you're putting money to the side and you're creating what's known as an emergency fund. I like to say a contingency fund for different reasons, but basically this is just a bank account with money set aside to cover large unexpected expenses. So just having you a stash spot, a certain amount of money stashed to the side in the event that you need it for certain things. Flat tire, something broke, whatever the case may be. You have to be out for a couple of days of work. You're not having to dip into any money or run up a credit card because you had an emergency fund set to the side just in case something happened. Or even, something more significant than what I just explained, or something went out, water heater, dryer, washer, it happens. You having some money set to the side puts you in a position so that it's not a tragedy. It's just an inconvenience. See, if money is tight, when something bad or big happens, it's like a tragedy. It's like you don't know what to do. But when you got some funds set to the side, it's just an inconvenience. You're not really upset. You wish it didn't happen, but you're like, you know what? It's all good. I mean, knock that out, and then you can keep going on your merry way. So this is only used for true emergencies. That means you don't want it to be taking it out. That's why they got it in the safe in that way, basically saying you got to break the glass to get to this. It needs to be a true emergency, is what they're saying. Budgeted items don't count. So they're saying don't just use it just to be using it. Make sure it's a true emergency. Must be liquid. So it needs to be something you can easily touch. Easily touch, like a savings account. You can just go in there and say, hey, I need to withdraw this amount, and it's there. You don't have to jump through any hoops, sign any crazy things in order to get your money back. It's liquid. That's all liquid means. Municipal bond fund, money market, high yield savings. So these are all accounts that allow you to have your money somewhere that can generate a little interest, but it's still easily accessible. Especially the high yield savings accounts, they have a lot of those floating around all over the place. It's hard to miss it. And then you want to immediately replace it if used. So if you dip into that pot, that doesn't mean you just say, okay, I handled the emergency and that's it. No. Now you take the cash flow that you've been getting due to the strategies we talked about in step number 1, and you refill the emergency fund. That's how it's set up. Then you proceed to step number 2. So if you're looking at this like a checklist, the document will say, do not proceed to step number 2 until you completed step number 1. In this case, we're going to step number 3. It will say, do not proceed to step number 3 until you completed step number 2. So this positions you to make sure that you're treating it like a checklist, checking off the boxes. And it gives you that confidence, because I promise you, if you have a checklist of some kind, or you have some goals and you see you're knocking one thing out, you knock another thing out, your confidence is boosted. But when you see you're not moving any further or not making any progress, your confidence diminishes. So it's important for you to at least put one foot in front of the other. That's all we're focused on. One foot in front of the other. Progress. Tell my boys all the time, look, what we focused on? Progress. What we focused on? Progress. That's how we focused on. It ain't gonna be perfect. It might be sloppy. It might not be all that. But if you bettered your best and you're competing with your old self and you made progress, then you win it. The end. Step 3. The company 401k, 403b, IRA, and the SIP. So basically, take advantage of tax-deferred retirement plans. If you have a job and they have any of these accounts, take advantage of it. It allows you to save taxes on the front end. Tax-deferred basically says that when you put money towards it, it's tax-deductible this year. So it can offset your tax liability. That way, when you file taxes next year or, on a year-by-year basis, you can lower your tax liability based on the amount of money you put into your future. Pretty much a deferred retirement plan. So tax deferred, tax/tax free, company match. In many cases, the company will match up to a certain percentage, and then it's automatic. A lot of times when you have a 401k, they automatically take it. You don't have to think about it. So it's almost like you never received it, and you look up and you see that nest egg is building up because it was automated. And a minimum of 5% in contributions, just really building up that muscle. And if you're not at a place, because we've talked to people and they're not at a place where they can give 5% at this time because things are too tight. Start where you can, even if it's 1%. Like, okay, I can do 1%. Couldn't do 5, but I can do 1%. And you just start there. So that's all that matters. Just start where you can and then make progress from there. Step number 4, debt elimination. Debt robs you of your investment dollars. You must take it back. I talked about that. So based on who was listening, when you eliminate debt, I talked about a couple of different entities who's taking your money. When you pay off debt and you save money on interest, which one of those entities are you getting your money back from? Let's see who's listening. Drop it in the chat. Which one of those entities are you getting your money back from when you pay down debt and you save money on interest? I don't see no answers. I think y'all scared. Don't be scared to get it wrong. Which one of the entities that I discussed? Credit card company. All right, I guess I'll make it multiple choice. So when I say you're paying off debt and you're getting interest back, the entities that I listed that's robbing you of your wealth, you got the government, you got big business, which are companies, you got the banks. Which one of those entities, I just kind of gave it away, it's multiple choice, but which one of those entities are you getting your money back from? All right, Tia got it. When I made a multiple choice, it was simple apply. But y'all gotta know this stuff. You gotta know who robbing you of your wealth. It shouldn't even be a thought. You should know it without a multiple choice. You should know, okay, if I fall victim to this advertising that they just did, that's big business digging into my pocket. And I get it. Everybody falls victim to it. The holidays are designed to let big business dig in your pocket. All these holidays they come up with, even Juneteenth, they start putting more emphasis on it now once they figured out a way to make it an official holiday and able to incorporate things that they can sell in Walmart. And now everybody's monetizing off of it. That's them. That's big business at its finest. Tapping into it. See, it wasn't as mainstream when it was small businesses selling products associated with certain holidays. But when they find out a way to make it mainstream, you better believe big business is going to capitalize on it as much as they possibly can. But you have to know that, so that way you see it when it's being done. You can scope it from a mile away. That's big business. I know what they're trying to do. And you can choose to participate or not. You might participate not as much as you would have, or you may plan for it so that you can say, you know what, I like to go all out on Christmas. Some people do. But I like to go all out on Thanksgiving, but do it strategically, but at least know who's in your pocket when you're doing it. Because you can't say you don't know. You got to know when the government is showing you that, hey, the highest tax individual is a person who works a job. A job don't get any tax deductions. We're going to tax you the most. We need to get all the money that we can from you if you just work a job. But if you got a business, you get up to 400 tax deductions. That's what we like. We like a person who doesn't mind putting in their own work. We reward them for being okay with figuring out ways to make their own money outside of a job. So you get rewarded. So you have to look at certain things and realize what's going to be the best benefit to you and figure out where you can get money back and know when somebody got their hands in your pocket. All right, so eliminate all high interest consumer debt. Who knows what consumer debt is? What is consumer debt? What is an example of consumer debt? Y'all actually gave this answer when I asked the initial question at first. But eliminate all high interest consumer debt. Do not pay off mortgage at this stage. This stage will help you build your credit. So consumer debt is any debt that is basically based on you just buying something that's not generating you any income. So if you buy a home, that's not necessarily considered to be consumer debt. It has the ability to increase in equity. If you bought something that was investment related and it's an asset and it's generating you some type of revenue, then that's not consumer debt because you leverage the debt in order to generate some type of cash flow that can possibly pay the debt off. Consumer debt is, in many cases, credit cards. You're just swiping for things like restaurants, travel, food, things of that nature. That's consumer debt. And a lot of those credit cards have high interest rates. So you want to get that consumer debt down because that robs you quick. That's higher than inflation. That's higher than, big business. High interest can really be a robber of your wealth. You want to be the lender, not the borrower. You don't want to be the person who they are getting rich off of. Trust me. You don't want to be that person. So get that high interest consumer debt down. If you have credit cards, set a goal to get that down. And like it says, this stage will help you build your credit. So if you're focused on bettering your overall finances, if you just get in motion and build up the right habits and understand who is robbing you of your wealth, is it the banks? Is it the big business? Is it the government? Well, newsflash, it's all three. You just have to figure out how to get the bulk of your money from all of these entities as fast as you can. And I didn't even speak on inflation. And inflation is going crazy. That's when, the cost of goods and things go up. You see it in a grocery store. Certain things cost double what it used to cost a year or two ago. That's inflation at its finest. That means that if you're not putting your money to work, not figuring out ways to get your money back into your household, not figuring out ways to minimize your taxes, not figuring out ways to multiply your money, grow your money, have business income, then you're getting, robbed of your wealth. You're getting poor by default. Your money is decreasing, even if it's just sitting, in a savings account. Your money is worth less than it was because things cost more now. So understand all of the things that are at play that's designed to rob you of your wealth. Because I promise you, if you don't have a strategy to keep your money, somebody else has a strategy on top of a strategy to take your money. Step 5, max out retirement. So understand, it's a flow that we're going through. The last flow was talking about paying off debt, getting that high interest debt down. Because now, instead of you paying or overpaying your interest, we want you to be on the right side of interest. You can also earn interest. So when you're investing, you're earning interest. So maximize the legal amount towards your retirement. So here's some examples of annual contribution limits at the time of this presentation creation. 401k, 403b, 457, and thrift savings plan, the max was $19,000. That was in 2021. And then if you're 50 plus, you got a catch-up contribution where you put a little bit more in. Then you got the IRA, and it's a catch-up contribution depending on your age. Then you got the simple, and then it's a catch-up contribution. So they know when a person is closer to what they call the retirement age, they're like, hold up, let's give them a little more time to catch up, because we see that they wasn't planning for it in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s. Now they're 50 plus. Let's try to get them a little more cushion. And it's not a whole lot, but they try to give you a little something. This is why you have to be so serious about understanding what it is that we teach, not just being focused on being entertained. You got to figure out what ways you can put yourself in position, because nobody should and nobody does have your best interest at heart more than you. So maxing out your retirement at this phase, it's all about putting money towards something that you can live off of in the future. See, we want you to understand that this plan right here is trying to position you for income for life. You have to think to yourself, how much money do I need when I plan to retire? And really, if you think with this mindset, you can create freedom a lot sooner than retirement. I'm gonna step back from the presentation for a second, and this is what I mean. So, for example, if you know you can live off of $5,000 a month, $60,000 for the year, then that may say that you need to have $600,000 to $1 million in some type of retirement account. So that way, when you are no longer working, the money that you got in that retirement account, 600 to $1 million, let's just call it $1 million, it has the ability to pay you $60,000 a year while that money stays in the account, still growing, but still kicking back a percentage. So here's what I mean. So if you got $1 million in an account and it's paying you at least 6% a year, 6% of $1 million is 60,000. So if it's paying you that $5,000 a month, you're living off of that 60,000, but you still got $1 million somewhere invested. So the money is still growing. It's not just dwindling just because you got 60,000 for the year. No, it's still growing, but you're still living off of whatever you needed during that time. So that's one way to look at it. However, if you know that $5,000 a month, $60,000 for a year is a good, safe place for you, what if you created some income, some residual income using my econ, or some residual income using, business strategies that paid you $5,000 a month? Now you got that same $5,000 coming in, but you did it strategically with cash flow, with business, without having to have $1 million yet. Keyword yet. You still want to strive for that, but you created the same influx of cash coming in passively or actively, regardless. It's just money that's coming in that allows you to generate more than enough money that covers all of your household expenses, and that gives you a level of freedom now without having to wait until you're 70 years old or 65 or 62 to retire. So that should be an ultimate goal of everybody. Everybody should be trying to figure out, what can I do? My econ has tools and strategies and an income or commission plan, compensation plan that allows you to create passive income, residual income. So if that's something you want to dive into, I highly recommend it. But if it's not my econ, then find something that can allow you to generate income that pays for all of your monthly expenses, whatever that may be. So if your household expenses is $4,000, figure out something that can generate that. 5,000, whatever it is, and start small. It might at first be you making residual income enough to cover your phone bill, cover your gas every month. Then you're like, okay, let me turn this up a little bit and let it cover my rent or mortgage. Let me crank it up a little bit more. Let it cover my rent, mortgage, and utilities. You're just pacing yourself to get in position to where one day it covers everything, and that's a level of freedom. That's a level of freedom. Everybody should have that as a goal. It's not in here, but I'm just challenging you to make that a goal for yourself. Step 6, build a full emergency fund. So what is a full emergency fund, Mr. Smith? Full emergency fund covers you in the event of a catastrophic loss, such as job loss or medical expenses. So this is something that if you have to be out for work for months at a time, you got a full emergency fund that allows you to be covered. Or if it was medical expense related, you got a full emergency fund that takes care of you. Brief story for us. When we were in my econ, we were checking off these boxes. We were running up the bag and doing everything that we could to get in that financial freedom. But as you're on your journey, things oftentimes show up that cause you to have to adjust. In this case, it was our boys being born early. We got twins that were born prematurely. So they had them in the hospital for 2.5 months. That put a wrench in our operation. And me personally, I didn't like the idea of having to ask for permission because at the time I was working when they were first born. I didn't like the idea of asking a job for permission if I can go up there and see my boys at the hospital. So I knew I was going to be leaving that job soon because the idea of me having to ask for permission didn't sit well. So as a result, I left for a few months, after they got out of the hospital and they finally came home. But it was a wrench in the operation. However, we had a full emergency fund. So even though I wasn't working, we were doing things strategically up to that point so that way we were able to not have to worry about the funds during that time. Now, I wouldn't recommend anybody just quitting their job. That's not what I'm saying. But it did force me to jump off the porch and we had to figure it out and step into the entrepreneurial realm. And it's been 9 years since I've worked the job as a result of that. Not everybody, is equipped to do it, but that's what we did. But we wouldn't have done it had it not been for having the full emergency fund. So just keep that in mind. It's very important. So 3 to 6 months of living expenses is pretty much what the full emergency fund is. So that number may be different for everybody. So a person who has $2,000 of monthly expenses, their true emergency fund may be $6,000 to $12,000. But a person who has $5,000 in monthly expenses, their true emergency fund may be $15,000 to $30,000. It all just depends on the individual. So you should be able to build this faster because you've eliminated debt. So if you're following these steps, everything snowballs and flows into the next phase. And these days, you might need 6 to 12 months of living expenses. And this is why business income is so important. I still don't quite understand why people shy away from generating side streams of income because there's no salary cap when it comes to business income. A job, they're the kings of salary caps. They're the kings of capping off your income. You don't want to limit yourself. You want to position yourself to where, you generate enough income and you can possibly create some freedom, but you might hit a home run and you mess around and knock out your goals a lot faster. And you have 6 figures coming in. You position yourself to, get $250,000, $500,000, millionaire status using business income. And that's not going to happen at a job. So do not shy away from some form of business income. We highly recommend my econ being one of those streams if you have multiple. But don't shy away and cut it off altogether. Because now you cut off the opportunity that could come from it if you just stepped out on faith. Step 7, pay off your mortgage / buy a home. So you're at a place now to where you checked off all the other boxes. Now you can start, chopping off the mortgage. So that way you're going to be in a position to where, you have some ownership. And hopefully if you do it right, if you desire to buy a home, not everybody does. if you do it right, you could and should have some equity in it, which also contributes to your net worth as well. So you're now in position to pay off your mortgage, or if renting, you're in position to buy a home if you choose. I'm not here to force anybody, and we're realtors, but I'm still not here to force anybody and say that you should buy a home. And plus, the world is changing rapidly. It's a lot of things that are changing and a lot of options and opportunities and things of that nature. But I always tell people, if you plan to buy a home, consider buying something that you can have some early equity in versus buying a home brand new and being upside down. Or if you're in a position to build, make sure you do it in a way that positions you to have early equity, meaning that you know, okay, this area is in position for growth. Me building allows me to position myself to have equity in the home as this area grows and expands. So you have to be in an area that has potential to expand. Or if you're trying to buy a home and it's not brand new, you might want to buy something that's off market. That's what we did. And it allowed us to have, like 100K in equity in 3-4 years just off of buying off market. So if you consider buying a home, consider buying something that's off market so that way you're not upside down. Free game. All right. So you will always need a dwelling. That's the importance of buying a home. Just because you can leverage it, get equity, you can't do any of that with rent, but to each his own. Home ownership is a part of wealth building. At this point, you are in position to quickly pay off your mortgage because you've been following all of those other steps. And then last but not least, invest beyond retirement. Now, this is something that can be being done. And Mr. Stokes even said it. Investing is something that should be being done on all of these phases. You should be putting money towards some form of investing. If you want the investment training that took place, if not last Saturday or Saturday before that, where he went through the Fidelity and talked about the different accounts that you can have in order to be growing your money, this is a part of that. But you want to be putting your money towards something that allows your money to grow beyond retirement, just something that allows your money to multiply. You want to be multiplying your money. It's a lot of things changing in this world. So that means it's a lot of opportunity. I'm sure many of you can think of some of the things that are coming down the pipeline that have changed the game in the world that we're living in now. It's a lot of talk about AI. Well, what if it was some AI related things that you can be investing in and be on the forefront of if you missed out on some of the opportunities that have presented themselves over the past, several years? What if it was some things that you can get in front of because certain technologies are coming and you can position yourself to invest in the companies that may step foot in that arena? What if you could position yourself to benefit from some of the things that are taking place? Whether it's, robotics, who knows? But it does require you to do some research. But sometimes it's just a matter of you observing and just paying attention and knowing the direction of where things are going. And if you know the direction of where things are going, you can be in good shape. Prime example, years ago, when I first introduced it probably was a couple of years ago, I knew social media was kicking off and growing at a nice pace. And I like ETFs. ETFs is a form of investments that allow you to basically have a bundle of stocks without you just investing into one category. So one of the ETFs I presented in the team training, and I may start doing some of those again, just, kind of giving people some ideas of things to research. No investment advice, but just some ideas to research. But it was one in particular that I talked about that included some social medias. It was an ETF. It was called Meta at the time, before Facebook had officially changed their name to Meta, but then they had to change their ETF symbol to METV. And it's pretty much a fund that includes Facebook, one of the extensions of where TikTok comes from. It has some NVIDIA in there. If you've been paying attention to investment, NVIDIA been going crazy. It has some quite a few things in there. I won't list them, but it's a lot of technology in there. But I introduced that to the team, and over the past year or so, it's been running up because of companies like NVIDIA. Facebook, Meta has been doing great. Alibaba, or not even Alibaba, Tencent, which is an extension of where TikTok, or has an affiliation with TikTok, and some other ones, just to name a few. But if you know the future of where things are going based on human behavior, based on, just technology and what you're seeing, or even your kids, sometimes your kids will be the lead to tell you, oh, this is what is coming up. Roblox people are interested in Roblox. Oh, okay. And that gives you ideas on things to invest in. That way, when you're putting your money towards things, you see that it's something that may potentially have a future. Just a different way to look at things. That way, you're not demonizing information that comes to you. You take a step back and see how you can benefit off this information. So it's one thing to consume information for entertainment, but it's another thing to take a step back and see how you can actually benefit from the information that's being presented. So investing outside of retirement includes all of the things that are in this list: stocks, bonds, real estate, gold, silver, crypto. Do not sleep on crypto. Do not sleep on crypto. I haven't said anything crypto related on the training, but definitely do not sleep on crypto because it has the potential to speed up that process as well. Definitely has its risks, but you know, don't sleep on it. And if you look at certain crypto that has potential, not just the meme coins and things that people are talking about that's hype, but has potential. It can blow up. Don't get me wrong. But I still like to look at crypto projects that have some solid potential because they're treating it just like a big company would treat their stock portfolio. Basically, they're trying to build a business, but they're just using crypto as their vehicle. So I still like looking in projects like that. So I have a few that I, keep my eyes on. Maybe I'll share some in the future. Mutual funds, ETFs, annuities, other businesses, Forex, etc. So it's options out here in terms of ways that you can invest. I say pick, one or two, get comfortable with that before you try everything. It's not meant for you to try all 10 of these in the list. It's just letting you know what exists so you can look further into it for yourself and go through the training that's inside of the My Econ, where Mr. Stokes breaks down all of these different investment models so you can find out what's the best option for you. So play the long game. Use the buy and hold strategy on good mutual funds and or ETFs. Buy and hold is basically saying you're buying it and you're not looking at seeing if it's going up and down and seeing how much it changed this week, this month. No. If you buy good quality things that you know has a future, you're looking at it like, nah, I know I'm keeping this for a couple of years. I want to see what it's like in 3, 4, 5 years. Because most things, if you look at it from a long game standpoint, 5 years later, your money has multiplied tremendously. Now, it may be a good idea to look at what's going on and see if you still have that same belief, because some things phase out. It may be a time that social media phases out and it switches and it goes into VR or the metaverse or whatever the case may be. You got to be able to pay attention and see if something has phased out. That way you can let your money phase right on out with it and go into something else that has a brighter future. But play the long game, because if you think long term and you invest with the long term in mind, you have a bigger potential of multiplying your money. It's lower volatility when you do it that way, less stress when you do it that way. Tax advantage on capital gains are different, because if you're just trading and just putting money in, taking it out, you're tax heavier. But if you keep the money in there a year plus, now you pay less in taxes and you can offset the money that you did earn. And it's easier to do because now you're not always having to look and see what's going on. You can invest comfortably and you do that on a regular basis, and your net worth will continue to increase on a month by month basis. All right, in conclusion, investing does not have to be complicated. Build a foundation. There's an order in which you should build a financially stable portfolio. Insurance, although it's not discussed in this presentation, you must protect your investments, and insurance is the way to do so. Life insurance, health insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance, and these are things that help protect you as the individual. You are an asset. It's you who's working that job. It's you who's building that business. It's you who's learning this new knowledge so you can take what you learn and invest and grow. So you got to protect yourself. And insurance, simply put, is a way for you to buy wealth before you can build wealth. Insurance is a way for you to buy wealth before you can build wealth. What do I mean? See, everybody aspires to build up that fat portfolio and, have millionaire portfolio, liquid millionaire, 10 million, whatever it is, so you can leave an inheritance for your kids. And that's great. Everybody should strive for that. Playing your role, participating in your own rescue, as I like to call it. However, life insurance allows you to buy wealth before you can build wealth, because You might not have $1 million yet. You might not have $500,000 yet, but you can have a life insurance policy that's worth $500,000, $1 million. That way, if something happens to you prematurely, got a life insurance policy that helps to cover all of your loved ones, even though you didn't make it to being able to build wealth at that level just yet. So it's very important, very critical to have some type of life insurance, whether it's term that that you're using for starters, then you roll it over to other options. I'm not here to, tell you different things or where to put what insurance to get, but there's, different ways that you can have insurance that can position you. But bare minimum, you can have term insurance that allows you to pay a small amount, but have a nice lump sum in the event that something happens to you. There's levels to this, but you got to start somewhere. And insurance helps to protect, yourself, your assets, and allows you to buy wealth before you build wealth. Financial advisors. Choose a financial professional to help you with the rest of your financial needs. Interview 3 professionals before choosing. And truth be told, if you're learning and getting smarter about your money, if you do decide to have a financial advisor, you can have more educated questions that you're able to ask. And then you might realize, you know what, I don't need a financial advisor per se because I've learned enough. But if you still prefer, then the option is there, but don't just limit it to one. Like it says, discuss and interview 3 before you end up choosing, but you just getting a better understanding of money, learning on a regular basis positions you to get better about your money and get closer to hitting your goals. So that concludes this PCP, your personal cash flow plan to building wealth. I'm going to set it up so anybody can unmute if you see fit or if you need to. You can ask questions about anything. It can be my econ related. It can be related to the personal cash flow plan. Let me see. All right. So if you have a question, you can unmute and ask your question. Drop it in the chat if need be. If not, I'm going to just go over one thing, not necessarily something for the builders, but just an overview of, just an overview of where you can find ways to build and make money with my econ. So it should be set for you to be able to unmute and ask questions, give feedback, takeaways before we wrap it up. Somebody unmute just so I can make sure I have it set properly.
No.
Yeah. All right, perfect. All right, any questions? It can be about this or anything else. Did it all make sense? Did you get some nuggets? This may have been a reminder for some, or refresher for some rather, but may have been new to several others. But I just want you to know what you have in my econ and how you can best use it to your advantage. All right, question going once, twice.
I have a question.
All right, perfect. Who we got?
My name is Christian.
Hey, Christian, how you doing?
I'm well. So my question is, I'm in the program, obviously, and do I start? Well, I'm working on doing the process for my credit repair. I start that, and then do I start my debt elimination, or like, what do you suggest with that? I don't know if that even makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. So you really will find out that you'll be doing it simultaneously. So have you already started going to credit tutorials?
Yes.
Okay. So have you already sent off your first round of letters?
Actually, no. So that's I'm glad that you said that. I don't have to wait for the credit report, the annual credit reports to come back in, because I have them typed up. I just haven't sent them off.
Okay. So let's do that based on what you see and going through the training the right way, so that way you can get the ball rolling, because the goal is for you to get results. So start doing that. And then as you go through, if you've already made it to the letters and print those off, keep going beyond that, and you will see the other training is about you positioning yourself financially, one of which equals paying off debt. So when I say you'll be doing it simultaneously, that's what I mean. You'll see, okay, now that I got my letters off, it's not just a sit back, wait, do nothing game. Nah, it's what can I be doing in addition to those letters working for me that can help me build my credit. And you'll realize that paying down debt, especially credit card debt, is one of the key pieces to helping you hit your credit goals as well. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure. Great question. Hopefully that helps somebody else as well. Anybody, any other questions? And for the record, if you go ahead. Go ahead.
My name is Dre. I was just calling. I mean, I'm trying to find out. I had sent off the identity dispute as far as the credit program for right now is what I'm asking about. So I sent off the identity dispute letter to the three main credit bureaus, and then I sent off the debt validation letter to the collection agencies or the creditors, the other creditors. After that, right there, I just hang tight and wait for the 30 days, or should I send the 30-day letter too, or should I just hang tight and wait for that? I'm trying to figure out where I go from there.
Great question. How long has it been since you sent the debt? Now, when you say, a lot of people mix up debt validation and debt verification letter. The debt verification letter goes to the main three: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. How long has it been since you sent the verification letter?
I did everything within like a week, like within the last week.
Okay, perfect. So after that letter, that's when you're waiting the 30 to 35 days. I like 35 days, but 30 to 35 you're waiting. And then based on what they do or do not do, most of the time you're going to come with that MOV letter, which is the second letter or the letter that comes after the verification letter. That's basically the method of verification. Because if they don't remove what it is that you remove, then you want to send a verification letter, because that's pretty much them saying that they feel like that item that they didn't remove has been verified. So you send that method of verification letter. Make sure you mark it in your calendar. So for example, if you sent it out a week ago from today, which was last Wednesday, make sure, 3 weeks from now, you're in position, ready to roll with that next letter based on what change you see when you refresh your report. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
So your method of verification letter, that's going to be next.
All right. Cool. I'm going to wait for 30 days then. 30, 35 days from that date. I got the receipt, so I checked the dates and just wait 30, 35 days from there.
Absolutely. Good question. Any other questions? And I challenge you, anybody who has not already sent out those letters, go ahead and get in motion. Sometimes the hardest step to take is the first one. Sometimes people have it right there. Yeah, I haven't sent off my letters. Get in motion. Ain't nothing to be scared of. Just get in motion. And then you'll start seeing the feedback, and it'll get fun, or it just get easier, because you're like, okay, I sent letter number 1. Then when you see some results come through and you see this was deleted, this was updated, this was, verified, or whatever the case may be, now you're starting to see the progress necessary to give you that extra confidence to keep moving forward. But don't just wait on the letters. Make sure you look at those other trainings as well, because many people can benefit from building credit because they may not have any good positive things on their report. Many people can benefit from, getting their credit cards down, or getting a credit card because they don't have a credit card at all. And without one, some type of line of credit, you're leaving 165 points on the table. That's a big deal. So get into that training and ask questions within the group anytime you need to. Any other questions before we shift into the last thing I'm going to share before we wrap it up? Questions going once? All right, perfect. So the next part is, matter of fact, I'm not going to even dismiss. Typically, we'll dismiss and make it only for the builders, but everybody needs to see this just so you can understand where it's all at. So basically, the last thing I'm going to share is how to access the training that talks about building and making money. We talked about you increasing your cash flow as much as humanly possible during this time frame. If you're not already rich or wealthy, then you need to be generating cash flow as much as possible. It shouldn't just come from your job. Your job should not be your only source of income. One stream of income is too close to none. That's very detrimental. That's dangerous to just have one stream of income. So you want to make sure that you have some other form of income coming in. We would love for my econ to be one of those. So that being said, we have a train that positions you to leverage my econ as a tool, as a knowledge base, and the training that we have that can position you to help others who want to help themselves by bettering their credit, bettering their finances. And then what you may find, as many people have who are on this call who are getting paid from social media, you'll realize, hold on, I was coming here to understand how to better my finances. I learned how to do some content creation, and now I'm getting paid off this content. Now be strategic, because you also want to be a person who's giving value, not just doing only what's trending, because if it's no longevity associated with it, then you're just, doing something that's very temporary, even though it may feel like is long term. So that being said, make sure you take full advantage of everything that we have, because just you being in my econ and following this training site that I'm about to show you right now can position you to create 2 or 3 streams of income outside of your job on the business side, which means that if it's on the business side, it also comes with tax deductions. Very important. So this is the royaltymovement.com. This is our training hub. This should look very familiar to everyone, because you should have got a text or seen a notification that pretty much lets you know that you go to the royaltymovement.com so you can get plugged into everything. Now, most people, when they first join, they join for credit repair training. Hopefully you know how to access all of that. I'm not here to, show you that, because that's just a simple couple of clicks and you're there. But what I really want you to do, if you have not done already, click on the Learn How to Earn. This is where you access the training that positions you to get deposits, get that extra stream of income. We show you, hey, join the group here, complete the checklist. So it's some things that we want you to do, but we want you to get in position. So this training right here on the front end basically talks about you understanding everything that you have access to, because if you don't know what you have, then it's going to be hard to make money, or you won't have the conviction necessary in order to share with those who may want to better their finances or credit. Then down here, we're going to you getting an understanding of setting up yourself to get paid, like literally setting up yourself to where MyEcon knows exactly where to send that direct deposit. Once you're done with that, it says move to step number 2. Then we talk about the compensation plan. We break down the numbers so you can understand, hey, MyEcon pays 100%. Somebody enrolls into your business, you get 100% of that. Not 10%, not 30%, 50% like affiliates. No, 100%. You get 100% when somebody enrolls off of that, their enrollment. That following week, you get 100%. So it breaks that down, plus the residual income, etc. So watch that just so you can have an understanding. Then the Queen breaks down tools that you need for your MyEcon business. So you get access to some tools that can help you. Gives you a ability to be, have a good look, a good presence online when people are interested in what it is that you have. Then once you've done that, you move to step number 3, and breaks down setting up yourself for success. So when it comes to setting yourself up for success, the Queen broke down some videos. If you haven't watched this, highly recommend it. If you watched it but haven't applied it, watch it again. If you watched it, applied it, but still are confused, watch it again. It's okay. It's okay to rewatch content. I do it all the time. If I didn't quite get the nugget, or didn't quite get the message, or didn't quite understand something, I don't mind rewatching it as many times as I need to. But it's all about what you apply. It's okay to say, it's one thing to say, yeah, I watched it, I seen everything. Okay, how much did you apply? Have you already done this? Because that's what I'm going to leave with. I'm going to leave with the questions that let me know how much action did you take. Because everybody can say they push play and watched it. You could have been multitasking, reprimanding your kids and all kind of things. But did you actually take action on the information? Why? Because that's where the magic happens. You can watch all of the trainers in the world, but if you don't apply it, then you can't benefit off of the knowledge that was shared. So it's not that the knowledge that was shared didn't work. It's the application that didn't get put to work. So the first one is setting yourself up for success in MyEcon, the beginning, the 3 main platforms. So we talk about platforms that we recommend you being tapped into so you can maximize your earning potential and just get an understanding of the way of the world, of the way of one of the ways of building business in this day and age. Talking about making content, real simple ways to make content in ways that you don't have to overthink it. And then getting sales and messaging scripts, the whole 9 yards. And that's the end of the training. So real simple, straight to the point. royaltymovement.com, go through the Learn How to Earn Income section. And this breaks it all down so you can get a better understanding of things that you can be doing to generate more income, because the overall goal is for you to hit this personal financial plan of building wealth. That's the goal. At the end of the day, you want financial success. It's just wrapped up in the form of bettering your credit, wrapped up in the form of making income and getting weekly deposits. The ultimate goal is what goal you have for yourself. So this is not about me. This is not about Ms. Smith. It's not even about my econ and the founders. It's about what we can do as a whole to help more people hit their financial goals. That's all I got. I give you another opportunity to unmute yourself before I conclude it with the mission statement. Let me know if you got any questions. Now's the time to unmute, and then you can have the rest of your night. What time is it? Okay, 9:10. I'm 10 minutes over. Okay. Unmute. Questions going once. Questions, comments going once. Twice. All right, perfect. Let me stop the screen share. So hopefully you got, hold on, what's going on? Okay, I got it. All right, so hopefully you got some type of nugget off of tonight's training, whether it was through the PCP, whether it's through understanding that you shouldn't have one stream of income and how my econ can play a part in helping you hit your goals faster, whether it was you understanding who's taking your money, who's robbing you of your wealth, because many people have their hands in your pocket. So you can't just have one stream of income when everybody got their hands in your pocket. Think about it. Most people have one stream of income, but they're paying 10 plus bills, utilities, internet, phone bill, gas, all of these things. So you have to be someone who's figuring out ways to put money back into your pocket and get it back from the people who are taking it from you. Why? Because we live in a world where we're conditioned for failure. And oftentimes we have been programmed or fooled into mediocrity. So people find themselves living like peasants instead of the royalty that they were meant to be. But you see here in the royalty movement, we see the king in you. We see the queen in you from start to finish. It's just time for you to take your seat on the throne, because this is where we uplift your character, your confidence, and your cash flow. As royalty, you should establish a solid financial foundation that will soon lead to your abundance and thriving empire. We want you to take your seat on the throne because you are royalty. Salute. Love y'all. Let's get it. Apply the things that you learned tonight. Let's get it.
Good night. Great call.